I'm back with a new book. This book is called My Father's Dragon, and it's a very light-hearted book. It's fantasy, so there are exciting things happening. Animals are talking. Of course, there's a dragon in it. And I wanted to read you this book because it's just more light-hearted than Stone Fox. And this one does not have quite the sad ending that Stone Fox has. But before we begin, My Father's Dragon words to know. Saucer, a small bowl. The kitty's drinking out of a saucer of milk. Alley cat and stray, they have the same meaning, a cat that has no home and sleeps on the streets. Cellar, it's just a basement. My bedroom is in the cellar. Inhabited means lived in. Uninhabited means not lived in. A knapsack is a backpack, and a grain bag is a bag that holds grain. Gangplank, a temporary bridge that connects the land to a boat or ship. Here we go with My Father's Dragon. This book was written by Ruth Stiles Gannett. It was written in 1948, quite a while ago. Chapter 1. My Father Meets the Cat. One cold, rainy day, when my father was a little boy, he met an old alley cat on his street. The cat was very drippy and uncomfortable, so my father said, "Oh, hi, wouldn't you like to come home with me?" Well, this surprised the cat. She had never before met anyone who cared about old alley cats. But she said, "Oh, yes, I'd be very much obliged if I could sit by a warm heater and perhaps have a saucer of milk." "We have a very nice furnace for you to sit by," said my father. "I'm sure my mother has an extra saucer of milk." My father and the cat became good friends, but my father's mother was very upset about that cat. She hated cats, particularly old, ugly alley cats. "Elmer, elevator," she said to my father. "If you think I'm going to give that cat a saucer of milk, you're very wrong. Once you start feeding stray alley cats, you might as well expect to feed every stray in town, and I am not going to do that." This made my father very sad, and he apologized to the cat because his mother had been so rude. He told the cat to stay anyway, and that somehow he would bring her a saucer of milk each day. My father fed the cat for 3 weeks. But one day his mother found the cat's saucer in the cellar, and she was extremely angry. She whipped my father and threw the cat out the door. But later on, my father sneaked out, and he found the cat. Together they went for a walk in the park, and they tried to think of nice things to talk about. My father said, "When I grow up, I'm going to have an airplane. Wouldn't it be wonderful to fly just anywhere that you might think of?" "Oh, would you like to fly very, very much?" asked the cat. "Oh, I certainly would. I'd do anything if I could fly." "Well," said the cat, "if you'd really like to fly that much, I think I know of a sort of way that you might fly while you're still a little boy." "You mean you know where I can get an airplane?" "No, not exactly an airplane, but something even better. As you can see, I am an old cat now, but in my younger days, I was quite a traveler. My traveling days are over, but last spring I took just one more trip, and I sailed to the island of Tangerina, stopping at the port of Cranberry. Well, it just so happened that I missed the boat, and while waiting for the next one, I thought I'd look around a bit. I was particularly interested in a place called Wild Island, which we had passed on our way to Tangerina. Wild Island and Tangerina are joined together by a long string of rocks. But people never go to Wild Island because it's mostly jungle and inhabited by very wild animals. So I decided to go across the rocks and explore it for myself. It certainly is an interesting place, but I saw something there that made me want to weep. Chapter 2. My Father Runs Away. Wild Island is practically cut into two by a very wide and muddy river, continued the cat. This river begins near one end of the island and flows into the ocean at the other.
Now, the animals there are very lazy, and they used to hate having to go all the way around the beginning of this river to get to the other side of the island. It made visiting inconvenient and mail deliveries slow, particularly during the Christmas rush. Crocodiles could have carried passengers and mail across the river, but crocodiles are very moody and they're not very dependable, and they are always looking for something to eat. They don't care if the animals have to walk around the river. So that's just what the animals did for many, many years. "But what does all this have to do with an airplane?" asked my father, who thought that the cat was taking an awful long time to explain. "Be patient, Elmer," said the cat, and she went on with the story. "One day, about 4 months before I arrived on Wild Island, a baby dragon fell from a low-flying cloud and onto the bank of the river. He was too young to fly very well. Besides, he had bruised one wing very badly, so he couldn't get back to his cloud. The animals found him very soon afterward, and everybody said, 'Why, this is exactly what we've needed all these years.' Then they tied a big rope around his neck, and they waited for the wing to get well. This was going to end all their crossing the river troubles." "I've never seen a dragon," said my father. "Did you see him? How big is he?" "Oh, yes, indeed I saw the dragon. In fact, we became great friends," said the cat. "I used to hide in the bushes, talk to him when nobody was around. He's not a very big dragon, but the size of a large black bear, although I imagine he's grown quite a bit since I left. He's got a long tail and yellow and blue stripes, and his horn and eyes and the bottom of his feet are all bright red, and he has gold-colored wings." "Oh, how wonderful!" said my father. "What did the animals do with him when his wing was well?" "Well, they started training him to carry passengers, and even though he was just a baby dragon, they worked him all day and all night too sometimes. They made him carry loads much too heavy to carry, and if he complained, they would twist his wings and beat him. He's always tied to a stake on a rope just long enough to go across the river. His only friends the crocodiles, who say hello to him once a week, if they don't forget. Really, he's the most miserable animal that I've ever come across. When I left, I promised that I would try to help him someday, although I couldn't see how. The rope around his neck is about the biggest, toughest rope you can imagine, with so many knots it would take days to untie them. Anyway, when you were talking about airplanes, you gave me a good idea. Now I'm quite sure that if you were able to rescue that dragon, which wouldn't be the least bit easy, he'd let you ride him almost anywhere, provided you were nice to him, of course. How about it? How about trying it?" "Oh, I'd love to," said my father, and he was so angry at his mother for being rude to the cat that he didn't feel the least bit sad about running away from home for a while. That very afternoon, my father and the cat went down to the docks to see about ships going to the island of Tangerina. They found out that a ship would be sailing the next week, so right away they started planning for the rescue of the dragon. The cat was a great help in suggesting things for my father to take with him. She told him everything she knew about Wild Island. Of course, she was too old to go along with him. Everything had to be kept very secret, so when they found or bought something to take on the trip, they hid it behind a rock in the park. The night before my father sailed, he borrowed his father's knapsack, and he and the cat packed everything very carefully. He took chewing gum, 2 dozen, that's 24, pink lollipops, a package of rubber bands, black rubber boots, a compass, a toothbrush, and a tube of toothpaste, 6 magnifying glasses and a very sharp jackknife and a comb, a hairbrush, 7 hair ribbons of different colors, an empty grain bag with a label that said cranberry, some clean clothes, and enough food to last my father while he was on the ship. He could not live on mice, so he took 25 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and 6 apples because that's all he could find in the cupboard. When everything was packed, my father and the cat went down to the docks to the ship. At night, the watchman was on duty. So while the cat made loud, crazy noises, he distracted the watchman, and my father ran over the gangplank and onto the ship. He went down into the bottom of the boat and hid among some bags of wheat. The ship sailed off early the next morning. And that's the end of chapter 2. I am wondering about some of the weird things that this boy has packed into his knapsack or backpack. And I'm also wondering what you would bring if you were going on a journey to an uncharted island. Would you bring lollipops and peanut butter sandwiches? Or would you pack something else? I would love it if you could please let me know. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll read chapters 3 and 4 out of My Father's Dragon. Have a good night. Bye.